Hi there. Excuse me. Maureen from Color Me Positive PLR here. And I had a subscriber ask me to do a tutorial on how to create the journal that I have on the sales page for the Steampunk Life coloring book kit. So that's what I'm doing. Now, this is going to be a journal coloring book kind of hybrid, but it's also going to contain bleed because I'm using a background image that will take up the whole space. So I know it's confusing for some people, so I'll go through that and show you how I figure it out, how I figure out the dimensions of the pages and the covers and such. And hopefully that'll help you out. Okay, so you're gonna do an 8.5 by 11 page. Now, I always use 8.5 by 11 if I'm gonna have a coloring element to the journal because you want the page or the elements to be big enough for people to color, right? So you just create your page. Now, make sure when you go to design, slide size, custom slide size, it's 8.5 by 11. Okay, you put that in there because if you just go to letter paper, it's going to give you 7.5 by 10 inches because it's putting that margin around it itself. So just change that to 8.5 by 11. Okay, now before I make it the size I need it to be for a full bleed interior, I create the margins, okay, for the 8.5 by 11. That way I know to keep all the elements inside those margins. So even though it is a bleed page, you don't want the coloring elements or say the tables that they write in the lines or the boxes to go outside. So because they might get cut off. All right. So what you're going to do is just come up here to your guides. Now when you see that, just hold down the shift and the control key and drag it over to 3.75 on that side. Again, shift control, drag it over this way to 3.75. Then come down to the middle one and shift control, drag it up to 5, and then shift control and drag it down to 5. Okay, there. So now you have those margins and you stay within those so none of your elements get cut off. Now we're going to change the custom size because when you have a bleed interior, it's got to compensate for that. So I'm just going to show you the page here and I'll put a link for you to go check this out. Now this is about KDP interiors, alright? So it gives you the page size without bleed and the page size with bleed. And this is the one you're going to be wanting to do. So 8.5 by 11, right? Right here. So that would be your page size if you didn't need bleed in it. Now you come on over here and it gives you the page size with the bleed. So you're going to make your page size 8.625 by 11.25. Okay, so let's do that. Go back in here and then we're going to go to design, slide size, custom slide size again, and just change this to 8.625 and the height to 11.25. Okay, and then just click OK, and it doesn't really matter, put maximize. Now the page size has changed, right? But the guides are going to stay there, so you stay within those and you'll be good. Alright? Okay, so we have our page set up. Now, we're going to add some coloring elements and some journal elements. I'll add a background as well. What I'm going to do first though is duplicate this page a few times. So I'm just going to click on in the left panel, go copy, and then I'm just going to click on Control V a bunch of times. Okay? And now we have like 10 or 11 pages, 10 pages. So the first thing I want to do is put my background in, and this is where the bleed comes in, because my background is going to cover that whole page. I don't want it within a margin. I want the whole page covered. Okay, so we're going to come in back to design, go to Format Background, and click on Picture or Texture Fill. Okay, then go to Picture Source, Insert from a file, and then just go to where you have that file. Okay, so I'm using this one, and see how it covers the whole background when you insert it that way, right? So that's good. Now, I want this background on all the pages. So instead of having to go through each page and doing that each time, all you do once you've done this is come down here and go to Apply to All. And there you have it. So all the pages now have this background. So I can start adding elements and tables and stuff to my pages. So I'm going to first come over here and I'm going to insert a picture. And let's do one of the females or males, either one. I like them all. I like this guy. So I'm going to bring him in. And I'm just going to pull him over here. Now, see how he goes outside the guides. So he might get cut off potentially when this is printed, and you don't want that. So just pull him in a little bit. And bring him up. I'll usually come over here and go align middle, so he's right between the lines. And then I want this to be a writing page, so I'm going to insert a table. Okay, you just go over to Insert Table, one column, and I'm just going to pull this up here, make sure it's within the line on the right, and I think I might bring this over a little bit. And then what I want to do is send it to the back so it's behind him, but still he's a bit overlapping. I like that. And then I'm going to come up to Table Design, and then over here I'm going to change this to this, and then the borders, I just usually go no border, and then inside borders. So now we have our lines. Okay. And I want more, so I'm just going to click in the table, come up here to Layout, and then insert below as many lines as I want. And there. So now, and I kind of like how this ended up, it looks like he's stepping on the last line. So now you have your table. So you have a hybrid coloring journal page. Right, so that's just one thing you can do. Let's try it. So for different types of the images, right? Let me see. Go to Insert Pictures. Let's take one of the animals, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So for the taller animals, like you're gonna want to put them on the side or whatever. But the ones that you have, I love this snail. Okay, so here for the snail, now you make this just a regular coloring page, or if you want to make it a journal page, it's pretty simple. So again, stay within the guides, so just bring him in. And then you could insert tables, boxes, all sorts of things, whatever you choose. But because he only takes up half a page like this, it's great to add the lines in the tables or even other coloring images, depending what you want. So let's say I want to insert a shape. I'm going to go for a rounded rectangle. And I want to make this kind of like a bullet journal page. So I'm just going to drag this out. Okay, let's pull it up a bit. I can make it a bit wider. And I'm just going to go to align middle. Oh, sorry, align center. And bring it up. Okay, so for the fill, I want it white, and the outline black. Okay, now I want to make this into, I want it to have a whole bunch of dots and stuff. So let's yeah, let's just take this and do, so you're at Onshape format, right? Let's do a pattern fill in this. So see how that turns into little dots, and you could try different kinds for a bullet journal kind of thing, kind of look. I like doing that. Just make sure your foreground is black and your background is white, so you have this. So there's one idea. Want to put lines and this, just pull that in, then just come over to insert table, and we'll do that, bring that in, make sure again inside the guides. Then I'm going to come over to table design, choose this one, and just the inside borders, and then I'll add some lines. Now you want to add lines, go to layout when you're in the table, insert below until you get the number of lines you choose. Let's just pull this down to meet the bottom line of that. And there, another table, another page for your coloring book journal, right? So you just keep doing that. Go through, find the different objects that interest you, create a page around them. I mean, if you just want coloring pages on a background like this, then just insert the images without the tables and stuff. And if you want all journal pages, then just create each one. I mean, you could create them exactly the same, or just let your imagination run wild. So I did want to show you in terms of your book cover now, because it's got bleed, you have to remember that. It's pretty easy though, because you just go to the paperback cover templates. I'll put that link in there for you as well, and it will spit out a cover for you to use the dimensions. So trim size is 8.5 by 11, and say you just put your page count in. So however many pages you create, put that in there. So say it's a 120 page journal, paper is white, and then you're just going to download it. Okay, and then you'll go through there and the dimensions will fit your book. Okay, so I'll put that link in there too, so you have somewhere to go to download your cover templates. And that's pretty much it. So it's just a matter of using your imagination and taking the images and seeing what they say to you. Play with them. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I hope this helps.